Now, our next step will be adding trainees to our active training plans. Remember, trainees cannot be added to a training plan unless the training plan has been made active. Please also remember that in order for you to enter your trainees, these expected number of new hires trained and expected number of current employees trained should match when creating trainees. So in our generals, we have one expected new hire and one current employee to be trained. So when we're creating our trainees, we come in here and we select create. Enter all our required information as these asterisks would acknowledge. New hire. Select our occupations from the list that we created prior to our plan being active, the cost of each trainee, and when is when that training date began. Automatically, when trainees are created, the status of your trainee will be enrolled. We go back, we review our information, and make sure all the information is accurately inputted. We come down and we submit. Oh, all right. As I mentioned earlier, we now have our first new hire. Now we must input our current employee that needs to be trained. So we come back to our trainees, create. And make sure that we do not select new hire, but instead current employee. Select our occupation, our wage at the beginning of training, our wage at the end, enrolled, our hire date, and the cost to train that trainee. Now that we've input our trainees and our data set matches what we have in our generals, one new hire, one current employee, one new hire, one current employee, both in the enrolled status. We will then come to our trainees, select edit, scroll to training status. Once they've completed their training, mark those trainees as completed, save. Our first trainee has been completed. We would then do the same for the second trainee. Training status, completed, save. This should allow our trainees to then populate when we create our invoice. Please remember that when creating the invoice, please do not click create invoice until on or after the 6-month retention date. If we come in here, we see that our 6-month retention date is 1/2/2022 and 1/5/2022. So that means that we are well over the time that we can invoice for. So these trainees, once the invoice is created, will populate on your invoice.